Jay Thunder,
and AJ Radix.
and we are the PWX AWA Tag Team Champions, Extreme Thunder. And you're listening to the Smack Raw Podcast, baby.
Hey folks, welcome to the Smack Draw Podcast, your wrestling recap show that covers, WWE, AEW, NXT, pay-per-views, recaps, predictions, I don't know. We just talk a lot of wrestling over here, and we are your hosts like every Tuesday morning or just about. It's Kyle and Vince. What's up, Vince?
Morning. What's up?
Good morning, my friend. Happy Mario Day, everybody, by the way.
It's Mario Day. I didn't know that. How about that?
It is Mario Day. Go bust out the N64, your Nintendo DS, maybe your SNES if you still have one of those laying around. Get some Mario, or for the newer generations, go ahead, bust out that Switch. Bust out the Switch while you watch this, man. It takes up no room, man. Go ahead and just break it out. Play a little bit of Mario. Hey, you guys, man. Like I said before, we're a wrestling podcast. And you can always find us on Podbean, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, Google Play Music, and iTunes. Also, we're on YouTube. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If not for the quality of the stream, to just make our boy Vince over here watch cats. That's what we're doing here. By this point, man, the subs are coming in a little too slow. What if we up the ante? What if Vince recaps the cats in full cat face paint? You know, got some whiskers on.
I can't do that. No.
You know what, man?
Watching cats just on its own is punishment enough.
It's all right, man. You might die a little inside, but then you'll have 8 more lives, all right?
The only way I'll do it is if Kevin does it with me, because he lost predictions with me, so we both need to be punished. And I'll be damned if I'm the only one that gets punished in this. If he does it, then I might consider doing it. If not, maybe I'll draw like a black nose and then do some whiskers at the most. At the very least, I'll do that with Kevin. But Kevin it's a package deal. Kevin has to come with, or else I'm not doing nothing.
All right, everybody, you heard it first, man. at Kevin Crazy 316. Tell him to put the cat face paint on. We'll watch cats when we get to 100 subscribers. Also, by the way, guys. Trying to up that fan interaction, we've run into some cases because we are streaming live on multiple platforms. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, what else we got? Twitch, and what's the last one that we're live?
Did you say Facebook?
Facebook, yeah. We now have a program where you can chat with us in any of the streams, and we will get access to it, so we won't miss any of your comments, any of your questions. Feel free. Drop them in the chat. We'll answer them on air. We'll give you a big old shout out. We are always excited for more fan interaction with you guys. So say what's up, man. Just hit us up. I don't know. Outside of that, you can also hit us up on Twitter at SmackDrawPod, myself at The Kai Tai Show, and of course, Vince over at SES Vince. When he's not too busy trying to catch Pokemon, I see you. I see you.
I'm just so for those of you that may not know, we do have our Discord. Go ahead and join us, and we added the Pokecord to it, so we are catching Pokemon left and right over there at the Smack Raw Podcast Discord channel. It's been loads of fun. It's only been the day in, but I can tell it's going to be a hot commodity. We're the only pro wrestling podcast that catches Pokemon on the side.
I don't think that they heard you clear enough, Vince. Join our Discord. Hop on Discord. Look up the Smacked Raw Podcast server. In here, you can chat with all of us and various other crew members about wrestling at the same time, catching wild Pokemon that are popping up in the chat, battling each other, trading, buying items. Come on, folks. It's a match made in heaven. Wrestling and Pokemon. Come join our Discord server. Once again, hop on Discord. Search for the Smacked Raw Podcast server. Ton of fun. But yeah, man. Yeah, dude. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. You caught way more than me. I'm really pissed
Well,
about that.
that's because you got stuck working open and closed, and then you have a family to attend to. I unfortunately do not have a family of my own. I do not need to do that. So I was catching some Pokemon on the side while watching Monday Night Raw, which was a fun experience to say the least. And I started off my morning by catching a Pichu. So all around, a great 24 hours.
All right, man. Let's actually dive into what we're here for. That is to talk Monday Night Raw. I'll start us off. Usually I like to do in a nutshell, and I ask, but you know what? I'm gonna start us off. I gotta say, man, this is a pretty serviceable episode. Although criticism, maybe we put too much pressure on it because now nothing's in the way. All roadblocks, all scenic routes, all detours are taken care of. We are on the fast track to WrestleMania. 4 weeks till we get there. I don't know, man. Didn't feel like the craziest build. However, the build that they did do, I was very, very pleased with. We saw some story angles squashed. No pun intended. We saw maybe we're getting a different version of a character that we're normally familiar with in a different light. We'll dive into that. And then we see other returning superstars stealing each other's finishing moves to get that heated rivalry up. And of course, we're talking about Edge, RKO, and Randy Orton. We'll get into that this show too as well. That was a lot of fun. But the show did kick off. Oh, well, actually, that was my take. Was I really liked it, although it didn't feel like the biggest build for WrestleMania, but I still really liked it. What was your take, Vince?
Oh, I mean, overall, I give it like a solid C plus episode. It had a lot of good stuff in here, but there was some other stuff. We'll cover it more in detail, but like stuff that we've seen in the past, like another 8-man tag to close off the show. When at first it looked like it was going to be like a 40-minute to like 30-minute like match between Aleister Black and Seth Rollins. But we didn't get that. So, I mean, little nitpicks here, but, it wasn't the best episode of Raw, just because they set the bar so high in recent weeks. It's still one of my favorite shows to watch on weekly television, though, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah. The ending really made me groan when they announced the 8-man tag. But we'll like I said, we'll get into that. We'll tackle it as it comes. So the only part of the show that I really missed was the opening of the show. I kind of came in around minute 10 of the show opening, and I caught the ass end of Becky Lynch's in-ring promo. So what really was she covering?
Well, basically, she was going over what happened at Elimination Chamber. Start off with a recap package of how Shayna basically just dominated the Elimination Chamber, then the post-match interview that Shayna did, and calling Becky Lynch a bitch. That was like the ending punctuation that she did in her promo. And Becky's like, yeah, I'm the bitch, but I'm the bitch that runs the division. And more or less just putting over Shayna, saying that she beat a woman in Asuka in like 3 minutes that always had Becky Lynch's number and took her forever to beat.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, and just putting over her as like a legit cage fighter, the longest reigning, accumulative reign NXT Women's Champion. So she put her over, and then she brought her down, calling her a black hole of charisma and all the works. Standard Becky Lynch promo that we've grown to expect. She's great on the mic. She's solid, and she just added a little bit more steam to this match. So this kind of feels like, okay, now since we don't have to go through the like the Elimination Chamber, we knew going into it that it was going to be Shayna versus Becky, and now we're going full force into it, pedal to the metal, full throttle, and I like it, man. It's pretty good. I was kind of hoping to see a little bit more interaction between Shayna and Becky. That's one thing I have to complain that the other women's segment had, is like interaction there. We're getting to WrestleMania. We're like 3-4 weeks away, if not less, and we have to ramp things up. We need to get physical. We need some action, But overall, for what it was, in a nutshell, pretty good.
This is hyping it. I got a question for you, Vince, and then for you guys that are currently watching the live stream in the chat, if you want to go ahead and chime in. And then anybody in the comments who are watching this in post, man, what's your take on the feud, man? Are you still stoked to watch Becky Lynch? Is she still the man a year later after that huge badass run that initially sparked off with Nia Jax potatoing her in the face? Or are you done with this character? Our castmate, Rob, he's he's done with her, man. He's ready for someone else to take it. He wants Becky off his TV. What about you, Vince? What's your take?
Personally, well, I'm not completely over the man character. I do miss Last Kicker Becky Lynch because that was my favorite iteration of Becky Lynch. You know, that's kind of like the one I like was fond of a little bit more. I'm not over it. The issue with the man character that I was critiquing on the show last week and in episodes prior is that sometimes she acts a little too goofy, like almost like when Dean Ambrose was like doing like goofy stuff, and I just wasn't liking that. Not because like she has to be this like the man, she has to be this tough, badass, serious all the goddamn time, but you know, coming for other people's necks. And I appreciated what she did last week because she's like, okay, you know, in all seriousness, it's time to get to work. Time to like get things like going. And she took it to like where I wanted her to take it. None of like the goofy crown, like giant glasses stuff, like little subtle stuff, like the deal with it boss glasses that she busted out a couple weeks ago. That's kind of cool and stuff. But she works her best when she's engaged, when she's fired up, and there's a lot of passion behind her promos, and she's in the ring with someone that she has this like intensity with. It worked with Ronda Rousey, it worked with Sasha, and it worked with Asuka, and it's working now with Shayna Baszler. She needs credible people, and unfortunately, people like to say that Shayna buried like the division in the chamber, or the booking team buried the division by having Shayna do what she did. But that's something that they were going to do with CM Punk back in ECW, and they didn't do it. And then before that, you know, people were saying that Becky was responsible for burying the division, but that wasn't on her. We can go all the way back to like Ronda, maybe like always going over everybody, nobody being at Ronda's level, so that when someone rose up like a Becky Lynch to Ronda's level, nobody else was at Becky's level because they were never at Ronda's level. So it was a mistake from like the get-go. Like nobody was at Ronda's level, and then now Shayna and Becky, Asuka, they're all climbing up at these levels, and it's just a matter of like trying to build other people up. Right now, I'm totally cool with everything. I think it's solid, and after WrestleMania, like I'm excited to see other people step up, like a Liv Morgan, or you know, like a Naomi or Bianca Belair. You know, someone step up a little bit more to the moment. But for right now, what we're getting, we knew this was gonna happen. We knew we were gonna get this feud and rivalry. I'm with it. I'm 100% behind it. I don't care what anybody else says. I'm here for it.
So you're still here for it. I would say that WWE can take the piss out of their champions sometimes. I don't think they've done it. My idea is her character is moving towards the cocky heel, or not cocky heel necessarily, but overlooking Shayna. I don't think that she's completely face. I don't think that she's heel. I don't even think there's really a good label. This would be like the one time that I really agree with Sebastian, and Becky's character is kind of above the heel face dynamic. She's just a person who is, I think if I'm correct how I'm reading it, is completely forgetting that she's the champ, and that she needs to stay hungry and sharp because the division will, of course, evolve and pass her by. And I feel like that's what we're leaning towards. In WrestleMania, she's probably going to get squashed by Shayna. I'd be surprising to even see a competitive matchup between the two.
No. That's where I disagree. I think what's going to start off as is Becky's like, oh, snap, this is for real. Initially, it's going to be Shayna dominating. Becky gets back up to that level, and they're going back and forth. It's going to be close, and then at the end, something that Becky does is going to like cost her, or like it's going to be like a small little like mishap, kind of like at WrestleMania when it was Shawn Michaels Undertaker. He went for the moonsault, got hit with a tombstone, and it was over. And I think it's going to be somewhere along those lines. It's going to be a competitive match for the majority of it, but I don't think it's going to be a squash. I think at that point, that's when I have an issue, when you're squashing the most dominant women's champion you've had in WWE in recent memory.
Yeah, well, you know, Brock Lesnar squashed John Cena at SummerSlam with 16 German suplexes, so we've seen it before. But we'll move on. We'll just agree to disagree on this one. Moving on, we had Rey Mysterio defeating Angel Garza in a very good matchup.
What are we doing here?
Of course, you love these guys when they mix it up in the ring. I feel like this four-way that we have between Garza, Mysterio, Carrillo, and Andrade has run its course. I would like to see these guys, not necessarily all four of them never interact with each other, but start branching off and bringing new people into these feuds, creating tag teams, something along those lines. However, I had no problem with the match. Thought it was a serviceable match. No interference from Andrade or Carrillo. There was just a clean match with Rey Mysterio winning. At this point in Mysterio's career, however, are we still beating the up-and-coming stars of tomorrow? How frequently should he be beating these younger guys? Usually in a guy in his position, I feel like he needs to be losing more than winning against up-and-comers, but you could give him a higher win ratio against other legends and seasoned wrestlers.
I'd say this. For last night, it wasn't a big issue because it could be just more character development for Angel Garza, but also too, this is revenge because it was Angel Garza that took out Rey Mysterio and took him out and injured him technically, in storyline and kayfabe, and in the storyline, the good guy has to get the upper hand in that situation. So Rey had to get that win back, and I would kind of argue that if all of these up and coming guys are getting wins over Mysterio, then what's the big allure of beating Rey Mysterio? If everybody can beat Rey Mysterio if you're an up and coming guy, then it's not a big meaningful win. If only some people can beat him, then okay, it means something. Not everybody's able to beat Rey Mysterio, and I don't think he's in a situation where he's doing it in a way that's hindering other talent. I think Angel Garza, it's fine taking that loss. You're losing to Rey Mysterio. At the end of the day, I'm pretty sure he was geeked to wrestle with one of the biggest legends in Mexican lucha libre, and wrestling history. So I think he was kind of geeked. I think he was more than happy to take that loss to Rey Mysterio. And you never know, this could lead into more things, especially since I get where you're coming from, where you want to see these guys branch off, but I think you are already embroiled into this feud, and you can't just start something fresh and new 3 or 4 weeks into WrestleMania. You kind of want to have a heated rivalry. So I say you keep these 4 guys, but for the first time ever, you throw them all in the ring together, everyone against each other, fatal forward for the U.S. title, maybe even put in a ladder match, and this could be a show stealer.
Yeah, you're right. If they don't do that with the Intercontinental title, yeah, I absolutely agree. Do it with the U.S. title for sure. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
I feel like WrestleMania, since Money in the Bank kind of left, it's kind of needed a ladder match in its staples. A lot of the best WrestleManias have had a ladder match of some sort.
That's typically reserved for one of the mid-card titles. For several years, it was the Intercontinental Championship. Then you had the ladder match for the tag team championships whenever the Hardy Boys returned. So there was that. I think WrestleMania, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, my memory is garbage half the time with my short term, so I am more than likely forgetting. But I feel like WrestleMania does have an annual, I feel like there's pretty much always a ladder match present, just as much as the armbar, the Andre, Battle Royal and stuff.
Yeah. I would say sometimes, there'll be a card here or there where it doesn't have a single ladder match, but they'll have a stipulation match, last year where they had Shane and Miz in a Falls Count Anywhere type of match, or whatever it was that they had. Something like that, where it's a match that there's a bunch of chaos and carnage, and they could do something with that. And I think that WrestleMania with these 4 guys in a ladder match, I think it's the perfect situation. It normally is sometimes the IC title, but do you really want to see Braun Strowman in a ladder match? Nobody wants to see that.
No. Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, it probably wouldn't make sense for the IC title this year. The U.S. title, given the roster and who's been going after it, like you said, with the likes of Andrade, Mysterio, Garza, and Carrillo, I think, it'd be one hell of a match and could be a star-making match for the likes of Garza or more. I think Carrillo would have more to benefit here just because he does feel like the more high flyer of everybody. So yeah, it's pretty nice. It was nice, and like I said, a decent spot on the show, man. A decent spot on the show.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens next. We caught some earlier footage of Kevin Owens arriving to the arena. As he's walking in the parking garage, the camera does one of those nice little slow pans over to the left, just slowly revealing the whole Monday Night Messiah crew. You see OC in frame, and then there's Murphy, and of course Last comes in.
You mean AOP?
Or who did I say?
Oh, the OC.
The OC. God damn.
I'm like, I knew they
There's too many.
joined.
There's too many abbreviated tag teams now.
Yeah.
Yeah. AOP Murphy, and then of course, last to come into frame is cult leader Rollins, and he's eating the popcorn that, of course, was tossed in his face and cost him and Murphy the match. I like Kevin Owens' realistic response was you're not going to sit there and jaw at him just to get beat down. So he took the fight to him. Of course, he was laid out, written off the show. I've got to say, between this, you know what? Actually, I'll save my opinions for the main event of the show, just because it all will tie back to this. But yeah, so it just set up that Kevin Owens was written off the angle for the night. Charlotte Flair afterwards came in. She cut a promo after airing one of your promos that you get to see on your show over on NXT. I think this was the same promo they used, right? Rhea Ripley
Exactly
at what stadium? Is that Jacksonville Stadium or?
Let's see.
Do you have it?
I have no idea. No, it does. They don't have
Tampa.
it here on CBS.
Tampa's Raymond James Stadium.
Raymond James Stadium.
Yeah. Yeah, she cuts her promo there, man. First time NXT title is going to be defended at WrestleMania, man. Big deal. Big deal. You don't if you're Ripley, man, you're etched in history now. Like that can't be taken away. There can only be one first. You know what I mean? So that's really dope, man. I'm happy for her. Is it fair? Is Rhea Ripley really the new Charlotte Flair? I've never drew the comparison between the two.
So a lot of people on Twitter would always say, when her initial run, when she was in the first Mania Classic, if you look at the other pictures where she had like a regular traditional wrestling gear with like the long blonde hair, a lot of people say like, damn, she looks like Charlotte, or she reminds me of Charlotte. So the comparisons were there. It wasn't until she reinvented herself and became like the Nightmare, the new gimmick she's got going on right now in NXT, that she really catapulted. But yeah, there were early on, like at least I saw on social media comparisons like, oh, she looks like Charlotte Flair. She looks like Charlotte Flair, you know? And I got where they were going with it. And even if you didn't knew it going into it, you can see it there, and it adds a little bit more fuel to this to the fire of this whole rivalry, which I'm totally behind.
Yeah. So we caught the pre-tape footage, and Charlotte comes out afterwards, cuts another profile. She didn't drop any new knowledge on us. She pretty much just stated that they're nothing alike, which I agree with, and that Charlotte's the best. I mean, it's your standard, like, you're not gonna beat me promo.
Yeah, she also mentioned something about like, oh, you were all in awe, like going into the venue, to the arena, and like the empty seats were there, but it's a completely different situation where all those seats are full and it's like game time, and like it's a whole different level that she's not at that I've been at. You know, she was basically saying the pressure's going to get to her. She's going to fold. She's going to crack. And she's going to lose.
We know Charlotte can bring it at WrestleMania. We've learned that before, man. Charlotte's had some awesome matches in Mania. I saw this coming. I was wondering how this was going to play out. I'll touch into it. Rhea Ripley comes out to confront Charlotte. And the whole time that they're standing facing off in the ring, I'm looking at Charlotte's dress. And I'm like, they ain't gonna brawl. There can't be any physical interaction because that dress is going right up. And sure, I kind of missed it. Did Rhea Ripley just like punched her, right? Just like,
yeah, it was just straight up punch, and that was basically the extent of it.
Yeah, because I mean, no, you ain't. No, we going back to like 1999 if they start brawling in a dress like that. Like, they ain't doing that, man. But yeah, Rhea punched Charlotte, left the ring. Charlotte was left with a smile on her face. I'd like to see a little bit more heat behind the feud, but honestly, I'm just excited to see the NXT Championship on at WrestleMania, man. So that's gonna be good.
Quick question. It has nothing to do with the show, but just out of curiosity, just quickly, guys, you guys can do this in the comment section as well. Power rank the women's titles of which you like by design, the SmackDown, Raw, and NXT. I personally like the NXT, SmackDown, then Raw.
Design?
Yeah, like design. Like, which ones look like the better looking title?
Well,
like, out of the three.
Isn't the Raw and SmackDown ones the same, just color wise?
Yeah, it's just color palette. I personally prefer the blue a little bit more. Yeah. That's just me. But like the NXT title looks amazing. I think it looks phenomenal. It's number one for me.
Yeah, man. In the chat, go ahead. I see you guys watching. I see you watching. Go ahead, man. What's your favorite women's championship? Drop it in the chat. Back on to Bobby Lashley's on TV without Lana, taking on Zack Ryder. And, you know, as bad as the Elimination Chamber crowd were, shame on the Raw roster for chanting they want Lana. After months of us like, get Lana off our TV, please, or at least get her doing something else. Let Lashley do his thing. You finally get a match Lashley's having, right? Without Lana there to distract and to scream. And the crowd can't get behind neither him or Zack Ryder. They got to cheer for Lana. What's up with that, man?
See, that's one thing that I was fighting with Sebastian about when he was saying like, oh, you know, it's doing its job, it's getting heat on Lashley. You know, Lana, they're starting up the Lana chants again, Rusev Day chants are starting up again. But in the process, you kind of ruined Bobby Lashley. He came out of this looking the worst out of all of them. And then look at Rusev, he's not even on TV because they got nothing for the guy.
Yeah,
he was even like they called an audible and took him off of the Crown Jewel like gauntlet match and shit. He wasn't even in that. So I think everybody ended up worse for this, except for Lana, who apparently is going to be on the movie. So kudos to her.
Yeah.
But this sucks for Lashley because now he's always going to be associated with Lana, and whenever he's out there, they're going to start chanting, "We want Lana," even if they decide to do a storyline where they're divorced or it was a ruse all along. He will always have that stigma with him unless he has a new mouthpiece with him.
It'd have to be a face turn. He humiliates Lana. He gets the one up on her, and then instantly gets into like a good feud with somebody else that can garner.
I still want to see Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. That's still a match I want to see.
That will instantly squash any Lana chance right there. But I'm telling you, man, I'm not gonna get into like the political side of things. I don't think WWE has any interest in Lashley against Lesnar. I hate to say it, man. I bet you that's not even on their radar anytime soon.
Which is kind of sad because that's how they lured him to WWE. They promised him that match.
I'm telling you, man. That's terrible. Sad. I just don't see it. I don't see it, man.
Let's move on to a matchup that we did get that everybody was looking forward to. All parties involved were looking forward to it. It was the Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy interrupting Aleister Black in his sit-down promo. They knocked on his door and they walked in. That was amazing.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. We started to get the generic Aleister Black. I hate to say generic, but they're starting to. The brooding, the dark corridor promo. Well, not dark corridor because he's actually in a room, but just like
he just doesn't pay his electric bill. He just decides to turn off the lights.
Man, I'm telling you. But he keeps a little ring light for his phone. That's how he does his promos. He's just got a little portable, this little light. But 10 seconds into his promo, 15 seconds into his promo, we actually hear a knock, and the door is answered. It all happens right there. No mystery, no allure. No one waiting outside his dressing room, just missing him comically, which was hilarious when that was happening, by the way. Seth Rollins and Murphy come in. They try to recruit him. They offer him a spot. He quickly declines it. No teasing it. No beating around the bush. He's like, nah, I'm not interested. And this ends up setting up the main event of the evening. Seth Rollins taking on Aleister Black. Honestly, I was like, yes, please. In my opinion, the first thing that came to my mind, and it's not squashed right away. It's not squashed just yet. Thought this might be the WrestleMania feud. Was like, they might want to deliver a hell of like an indie style NXT takeover, whatever you name it. Just hell of a good match. If you gave these guys 15, 20 minutes, told them just have at it, dude, I bet these guys could produce just some magic. Let's just say.
Oh yeah, you give them the time and the free range to do what they can do. They could probably top any match that Takeover Tampa Bay puts on the night beforehand, or anything AEW does. That's just like something that we realize is that, like, unfortunately, these guys don't get that free range that they get in NXT to just go and do like these indie style matches. But I think that's something that WrestleMania needs desperately. You know, you need to have a variety. I feel like going forward, we should have WrestleMania be like this melting pot of different wrestling styles, a little bit for everybody.
Give us two. Just give us two per WrestleMania. You got 7 hours you're going to fill. I don't care if one of them's on the damn kickoff show. That'll help bring eyes to that. Give us two takeover level matches. Like, just give us two of them out of that 7 hours, man. Give two guys 20 minutes apiece, 25 minutes. Just, that would...
I feel like sometimes they deliver on that. Like, surprisingly, at WrestleMania, what was it, 34? Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles, or 33, I think it was. AJ Styles, Shane McMahon. That was the best match on the card, and it kicked off the show.
How, in the same breath, Shane McMahon was involved in the best match on a WrestleMania. That's how you know they're avoiding. I'm sorry, I'm raising my voice. I might be peeking this mic out. That's how you know that they are just they're just throttling these guys' capabilities, man. WrestleMania, I get it, man. It's the spectacle. It's the showcase of the immortals, man. But man, whatever. It is what it is. Shane McMahon, dude, that was a terrible example. Shane McMahon was involved in the best match. It was a great match. It was.
I would argue that it's a great example that if Shane McMahon can go out there with AJ Styles and put on like the best match on the entire pay-per-view, Aleister Black and Seth Rollins can put on match of the year.
Damn, I thought you were going to use that as a segue into the AJ Styles Undertaker promo.
I mean, we could have, but unfortunately, it wasn't next.
Oh man! Well, I don't.
Is it?
No, none of this stuff is in chronological order. We're just covering the bullet points. Yeah,
since we are talking about AJ, then we might as well go into it, right?
Yeah, man, we might as well, dude. This was great. This is something I've been calling for, and what I want is probably not what I'm going to get, but I'm not going to be as unrealistic as I was toting around saying Ronda Rousey was going to win the chamber match when she wasn't announced. So it's not as unrealistic as that. But so AJ Styles comes out, cuts a promo, and right away you can tell this feud is going to be different with Undertaker. He's officially calling him out, but he drops his name. He says he doesn't see the mystical being the Undertaker. You know, he sees a Mark Calloway. You know what I mean? A broken down old man named Mark Calloway. And then he brings in Michelle McCool. He breaks kayfabe. He drops the spoiler. Michelle McCool, Undertaker are married. Pretty much just kind of plays into that she's a gold digger, and that's the reason why this dude, because he said Undertaker was past his prime 10 years ago, and the only reason he keeps showing up is I'm assuming he means she's a gold digger and he needs the paychecks to keep Michelle McCool happy.
That's his basically he called Undertaker sugar daddy.
Yeah,
that's what he called him.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what it was. I like this aspect of it. It was kind of cool. It humanizes the Undertaker because, let's be honest, at this point, nobody really believes this man is a mythical creature anymore. No, like ever since his match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, I'm like, I love you, Undertaker.
But the mystique
is dead. Yeah. It's done. What was the match before Roman? Like, I think
Bray Wyatt. He got a win over Bray Wyatt after he lost to Brock.
He got
Lesnar.
another one after that, didn't he? Like another one.
I really want to say he lost to Brock, he beat Bray, and then he lost to Roman, and then he beat John Cena, and then took last year off.
No, he had that Shane match.
Was that
32? Yeah, that was the year before. So it was Brock, then it was Bray, then it was Shane because everybody was injured at the time, and then it was Roman at 33.
Really? I thought that was just a different pay-per-view altogether.
No. It was the Hell in a Cell, remember?
Yeah, Undertaker, Shane, 32. Yeah, Shane jumping off the cell. Yeah, so, you're right.
Unfortunately, not to reference Shane McMahon again, but I feel like that was the last time I enjoyed a really good Undertaker match was in that Hell in a Cell match.
You know, everybody shit on that match. Everybody shit on that match completely.
Really? I enjoyed that match a lot. Maybe it's because it was a Hell in a Cell. Shane McMahon had just came back. He did the Hell in a Cell's top dive or something. I enjoyed that match. I saw people were complaining that it was pointless because, like, Shane McMahon ended up getting power, they created control or whatever,
anyways,
over Raw or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was pointless, but I thought the match was fun.
Well, back to what I was saying. What I'm hoping this all alludes to. I went on record early in the Smack Drop podcast history of the show. I went on record. I want to pull it up now if I could find the soundbite. But I always said that my favorite idea of booking Undertaker at WrestleMania would be old badass Taker, grizzled Taker. He comes out. He's got a stubbly gray beard. Okay, old man Logan feel, right? Mm-hmm. He's coming out to Johnny Cash. No grave can hold me down. You know.
Oh yes,
yes. That is my version of Taker. Like just one last time slinging those guns around. As you know, he's gonna go out in a blaze of glory. I'd love to see that because the mystique, like we touched on, the mystique's done. You know what I mean? No one's buying the character anymore. I've seen some speculation already that they're alluding to this will be another return of the American Badass gimmick. like we've come full circle twice now where he drops the mystical character for American Badass, then doubles back to the mystical character, and now we're reliving that cycle again, going to American Badass possibly. If he comes out to Kid Rock or Limp Bizkit, it's gonna be super tone deaf, I think. Personally.
So
speaking.
If he comes back, he can't come back to those themes. He has to come back to like that Big Evil, like the Jim Johnston produced song, because I felt like that was probably the better one. But I'm with you, man. I was kind of hoping that once the mystique kind of went away, and he just kind of like became like this old man, like Johnny Cash type, like veteran wrestler, and he came out to like you were saying, "Ain't No Grave" by Johnny Cash. He started coming out with that, or like some version of that with that intro. Maybe just kind of have like this old western, like the last like the last cowboy standing or something. That's where he should have transitioned his character from like Mystique kind of guy to like this old grizzled vet that's out here still like doing what he can do. And that I felt like I would have resonated a little bit more with Undertaker, and just like connected more with this audience that doesn't really get behind like goofy, like wacky, like out of the box like gimmicks like that anymore. Yeah. He's literally a dying breed, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And what I was gonna say, like how I booked it, I remember too. They've already kind of dipped into what I was saying. This is kind of what's got me excited. But in my version, it was Undertaker that came out and kind of delivered the whole Roman spiel when he revealed they had leukemia. He's like, "My name is Joe." You know what? Everything. Mm-hmm. Undertaker instead delivered the whole, "I can't keep this up. I'm Mark Calloway." Like just went boom. This is me as the person. And but AJ
Mark Calloway, the Undertaker.
Yes,
the Undertaker, Mark Calloway, or something like that.
Yeah, but AJ Styles is already delivering that for us. I really hope they lean into it. I'm excited to see where it's going. I mean, if honestly, dude, just have Undertaker come out to Johnny Cash's "Ain't No Grave." Just do that. I don't care about anything else. Just have him come out.
What if he comes out in like those gray like shorts and like that yellow hoodie that he was caught in like the airport like a couple years back, and looks like very like quivering, like beat up old man, and he's like, "I can't really go anymore," and they can just pulls an Orange Cassidy and just goes hot on AJ Styles. That's what I want to see. I want to see old man retirement. Yeah, I want to see old man retirement home Taker show up at WrestleMania and then just pull an Orange Cassidy and go 110% and just blow AJ out of the water. That's what I want to see.
Top rope Spanish flies from the Undertaker.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Yeah. He comes out in like one of those like retirement home like go karts and shit because to speed up his entrance. I want the whole shebang, man.
Yeah, I love how you said it speeds up his entrance. Those things go like 2 miles an hour.
If not, lean into the slowness of his entrance and give him like one of those like what are those things called that like old people used to like get around?
A walker,
like,
just a walker.
Yeah. Give him a walker, and he uses a walker to get to the ring. And then once the match starts, he starts running back and forth like he was back in the seat. Do something, man. Some misdirection like that. I want to see something different with Undertaker.
Orange Cassidy Taker, folks, make it happen. All right.
Oh, there you go. Book it. License to print money, man.
I'm telling you. Hey, man, Let's go from a character who's unfortunately dying to a character who died. Eric Rowan came out for his weekly match, fresh off the hot angle, revealing that he's got a pet robot spider, real spider. I assume they wanted us to think it was real, but yeah. He takes on Drew McIntyre. McIntyre kills the spider, folks. He during the match, McIntyre lays out Rowan on the outside of the ring, takes the crate, puts it at the bottom of the ramp, grabs some steel steps, smashes the spider, smashes the cage, and Spider Angle dead. Was this a response to the backlash last week? Do you think like they saw what everyone was saying online?
Was the reveal last week? Yeah, it was last week. I think it was more of a. I feel like I don't know if you noticed, but WWE usually does like little things, like if something's bombing. And to like write it off a storyline, they'll do something like, okay, we're done. Like the Vince McMahon $1 million challenge was a bomb, and how did they end it? The whole like stage thing collapsed on Vince McMahon, and that's how. And he was injured. They wrote him off the storyline. It was just the way they only did it. So because like Drew McIntyre, you're trying to get him over as like this top baby face, it's this like this hot guy, and the crowd's clearly behind the guy. One of the most universally hated storylines, especially after the reveal last week, was the spider. If it did anything, it got more of a face pop for Drew McIntyre for destroying that spider. But I'm like, okay, finally the stupid angle was done, and it was Drew. Thank you, Drew. You are our savior. Got a little bit like a little like face rub on him, and I think that's the goal. If anything, this whole thing accomplished. I don't know if that was the end goal or if that was just an audible they called, but regardless, it was a great way to write the whole site.
It was a smart audible on their behalf because they took a crap storyline and they took another character that needs as much of a face rub as he can get, trying to build this feud, and they did, man. No one, I completely agree. No one else should have destroyed Rowan's damn cage gimmick than Drew McIntyre. So way to take chicken shit and turn it into chicken salad, as one of my very favorite co-hosts says on the show. So
for sure, man. Hey, and look, man. One thing I was gonna say is like, man, I knew this was gonna happen when he was brought over to Raw after the draft, but Eric Rowan has just become that guy that comes in there and takes L's now. Like, so much for building that guy up. SmackDown did all the work to try to build him up as a dominant force to the levels of almost getting him to like a Braun Strowman level, and they just squashed the guy. Like, Aleister Black just destroys him, and then now Drew McIntyre destroys him. He's become another guy that they're just going to throw out there and, pick up, take the loss to the stars. He's the jobber to the stars now.
Yeah, is he done though? You'd think he's
done. I think he's done. The only thing they had going for him was the stupid thing that was in the cage and the in-trade. They dragged it on too far, too long, and now nobody cared, and they decided to just like do some stupid reveal, and now it's gone. I'm sorry, I love Rowan. I think he's good. Personally, I have nothing against the guy, but I feel like he's just gonna be a role player, one of those guys you throw into a faction, and he's just there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't even know if I give him that. I think TV time is done, man. I don't know. Maybe main event. I feel bad for
he's going to be the main event of main event. That's for sure. He's going to main event.
They need their own belt. Oh, speaking of that really quick, you saw who showed up on main event in the tapings? You saw that?
Sheldon Benjamin?
Well, not just him.
Eric Young.
And his opponent,
Dana Brooke,
Ricochet. Fresh off his feud with Brock Lesnar. Ricochet was taped after, I think it was after Raw. Yeah, they were taping main event. Ricochet was in there. I called this months ago. I literally said he's going to be on main event like 2 months ago. Poor guy. I think
he's been on main event in the past. I don't think this is his first time being on main event.
I don't take pleasure in being right about something like this. Like, I never like to punch down. That's actually a cruel way to put that. I don't like to shit on a guy and say that he sucks, and then to see like him get treated like he sucks. I'd rather say a guy sucks, I'm not into him, and then watch them turn his character around and turn him into something really enjoyable. So I'm never the one like actually really hoping someone fails, but boy, Ricochet's got to have to pick himself up from the bootstraps, man.
I mean, he's digressed every step of the way. He went from being like one of the guys that helped eliminate
North
American champion, U.S. champion, a hot up and coming guy. They do nothing with him for a while. He gets a title shot against Brock, gets destroyed, squashed harder than that spider got squashed. Then he gets a 24/7 title match against Riddick Moss, loses to that, and now he's on main event. Where another guy that's a main event staple, what's his name? Cedric Alexander. See, I'm flustering over his name because it's been so long. And I love me some Cedric Alexander, man. I love him and Ricochet. But jeez, like really, what are they doing with both of these guys? Why Riddick Moss? Okay, let me ask you guys: do you guys care about Riddick Moss? Why is he on our TV? Where did he come from? And can we blame Mojo for this? Because I want to blame Mojo for this. This is his fault for Ricochet's downfall and Cedric's downfall and everybody's downfall. Is that he brought Riddick Moss from NXT, and then now he's just sitting there and catering while
monster, man. Moss looks like Vince McMahon 2011 guy that he would just get behind. I bet he just gives Vince McMahon nostalgia from like 9 years ago. Like, oh, this is the type of guy I wanted on.
Now I'll go even further back. He looks like prime ruthless aggression guy because like back in the day, they were just trying to capitalize on that Brock Lesnar stuff. That's one thing that WWE likes to do. Like that's why a lot of models were hired, was because Trish was the model and she became a huge success. So they were trying to find the next Trish. And then Brock was such a physical specimen and they decided, let's find the next Brock. That's why Bobby Lashley became a thing. That's why Mark Jindrak, guys like that became a thing. You know, Batista blew up.
Like, what was it? Curtis Masters or something? The guy with the mask.
Chris Masters. He had a nice gimmick, though, but he had, like, very little promo skills, in my opinion. Man. He just was going to peak at, like, a
poor guy was the victim of some freaking body shaming and, like, hazing after he lost all his damn muscles.
Oh, yeah.
And be a star, Triple H. Jesus. But yeah, you were like you said, it ties right into Riddick Moss, completely destroying Cedric Alexander. Man, R.I.P. Gary the Goat. I gotta say, man. Hopefully, you know what's gonna happen is enough of these crazy talented guys are gonna end up on main event. That main event's gonna be must see. You're gonna see. I completely mean that joking, by the way. But I mean, at this point, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, Ricochet. Damn, man, they're starting to get a hell of a roster over there.
I mean, and I'm not trying to be that guy, but why are all like our African minorities on main event? Come on, why? What's going on there? I know I'm not gonna dive too much into it, but I'm just gonna say, is it a coincidence or, you know, like you tell me, you guys tell me. But going back to Riddick Moss and the way that the 24/7 title has been treated recently, like a regular title, are they trying to establish it as a title or
it's a weird one?
It's a weird like. I felt like the allure of the 24/7 title was
you guys get in the chat, man. Is the 24/7 championship? Are you guys still into it? Is it a joke, or are you still tuning in? Personally speaking, I like the 24/7 championship. I do, but you're right. It's being defended now in legit matches, and we're not seeing any cases where Riddick Moss is fighting off people. So yeah, no, you have a very good question there.
Like I could do away with like the constant like running around, being chased around by the group of guys. But here's my whole thing: it's like when you focus in on like 2 or 3 guys that are trying to get that title, I feel like you strike gold. When it was Drake Maverick and R-Truth trying to do something, gold. When you incorporated Carmella and Drake Maverick's wife, gold. That one little Christmas angle they did with Akira Tozawa and R-Truth was amazing. That was great. That was great TV. They dragged it on over like 3 or 4 segments. and it was gold. It's like you have to tell a story with the title. It can't just be big muscle guy comes in here and squashes a guy that should be like an upper mid card guy. You know, like he's done that with he's beat Mojo, he's beat Ricochet, he's beat Cedric. What's he gonna do? He's gonna beat freaking like who's next? Like name a guy. What is he gonna go out there and beat Rey Mysterio or Andrade next? You know what's going on? Like what's the deal here?
Yeah, I said, you guys in the live chat, man, what is next for the 24/7 championship, man? Let us know. Until then, though, yeah. So after Moss, oh, by the way, last question about Moss. What's with the because I don't know anything about the guy. What's with what showed up on the Tron? It looked like is it Riddick? What I can't.
Riddick Regiment. So when he was in NXT for a minute, and I saw I seen that he was doing this in the house show. He's kind of doing like this whole like workout guru kind of guy. It's like this is the regiment that I used to like get into the shape, get back from injury and stuff. So it was similar to a Simon Dean type of guy. You know, something that you see like on a late night like fitness commercial, like at 2 a.m. where you're watching like a rerun episode of, you know, like The Simpsons or Family Guy. You know, it plays, you know, the infomercial. He's that guy. He's like that workout guy that's trying to get you to spend money like on this regimen and like just lose your money and never see the results. That's what he was. That's what he was.
He's out there pushing the next P90X, man.
Yes, there you go. He was the P90X guy.
All right. So lastly, the last two or three segments we got going on here. Yeah, the Kabuki Warriors, they came out here, man. I gotta tell you, I am a huge fan. And correct me if I'm wrong, people. Like I believe I'm in the minority of this. Dude, I love Asuka and Kairi Sane cutting Japanese promos, not knowing a word they're saying. Their personality is all that shines through. I love it, every second of it, man. I'm
100% behind you, man. You're not gonna get any disagreements on my end. Totally behind it. I think that's the best way to utilize them. The one thing I just hate from the crowd, it's like I hate it. The what chance to like foreign wrestlers where they're speaking non-English. And here's the thing: it'd be one thing if they're just whatting them throughout the entire promo, but when they said something in English, they didn't get whatted. It was when they spoke in Japanese that they got what. So that's like nitpicky, man, but it grinds my gear. As a guy that speaks two languages, I'm Mexican, I'm Latino, and I hate it when, you know, people just force me to speak English if I don't want to. Yeah. You know, it's a touchy subject for me. But, you know, me personally, just like, guys, be cool, man. Don't what like foreign wrestlers. Like, it's cool when you what the heels, you know, they're speaking in English promo, you know what they're talking about, but it just comes off as you being ignorant and just like, oh, I don't know what you're saying because it's a different language. I'm gonna what you. You know?
It sounded like it was a certain section of the crowd, though. Like I kept hearing like a specific group. It didn't sound like the whole crowd when I heard the what chants. It did sound like there was just a specific section.
It's usually just a specific section. It's not the entire crowd, and I'm not shaming the entire arena of fans. It's like it's a certain section,
but it was loud enough to make it onto the production. So yeah.
Totally behind this. I have no idea what they were saying, but I'm assuming they're alluding to something that Alexa was saying on SmackDown, saying, oh, they don't defend the titles or whatever. Because they were basically like, oh, you want to cry that we don't defend your titles, titles. You haven't given you a shot, you know, whatever, just cry about it. And they were alluding to like what happened at Elimination Chamber. They were basically saying like it was the wrist injury. And if you see at the closing moments of that match, Shayna targets that wrist, and that's when she just Asuka just loses it right there because then she gets locked into the career for the clutch. So they alluded it being like, hey, she wasn't 100%. It was the wrist injury. Shayna exploited it. That's why I lost. I will get that title later down the line. Right. That's what I interpreted for the whole thing without knowing a lick of Japanese.
Yeah. We're probably going to get a three-way tag match, if rumors are to be believed, between the Warriors, Natalya, and Beth Phoenix. Thank you. And then, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. We're probably going to get that at WrestleMania.
I'd love to see the Iconics back at some point.
Yeah, I didn't say what I want to see. I said what I believe we're going to get. But, yeah, me too. Bring the Iconics back, but they can't right now because Miz and Morrison stole their gimmick. It's true. But during the match, like I said, it's Natalia teaming up with Sarah
Liv Morgan.
Logan. Oh,
No,
Liv Morgan, excuse
Yeah.
me. Ruby Riott made her presence outside the ring during the match, and Sarah Logan came out. This actually got me pretty excited. Liv attacked Ruby Riott. And then, no, not excuse me, Sarah Logan. Oh yeah, and Sarah Logan then did a top rope crossbody to the outside on the two other former Riot Squad members. And it looks like we're going to get at some point down the road, maybe Mania, maybe leading into Mania, a Riot Squad triple threat match, which I'm down for. I'm down for. All of these girls need something like one, at least one of them needs to emerge as a threat, because right now they're borderline Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, all three of them.
This is what I'm going to say. Out of anyone, it has to be Liv Morgan, because she does great at selling. Like when she was coming into that chamber last night, 2 nights ago on Sunday, you could see the worry, the lack of confidence going into that cell. She put up a brave face when she was like talking smack to Sarah Logan, but when it was time to get inside the pod, she was nervous. There was anxiety. Great character. She didn't give up. She took that punishment from Shayna, and then she didn't tap out. She passed out.
When she got slung into the pod door, it legit looked like she was crying. Like,
dude, at one point, it legit look. Liv is just a great
her ass beat.
Liv is a great actress. I feel like she's not gonna. I don't think she'll ever be like a 5-star wrestling match machine, but she will be good enough to a point. She's similar to like Carmella. Carmella, if you put her in a solid situation, she will deliver in the ring.
I love Carmella in the ring nowadays. Like I've completely flipped from the initial Carmella can't wrestle aspect, and now like she is a credible champion.
Mm-hmm.
Like you put a strap on her, and it feels like she's definitely SmackDown champion worthy. So,
and I feel like the Chamber also lined up some feuds for Shayna after Mania. Asuka, Liv Morgan, maybe a returning Nia Jax, maybe a debut in Bianca Belair, maybe Charlotte Flair wants to crack.
We'll touch on that, but it can't be anybody on that Raw roster that was in that match. You can't have her go from Becky if she does.
No, not immediately. Like you can always say 100% Asuka. 100%. Now you get that match. Asuka's the only one. I'm saying Liv Morgan can eventually be built up. Like how we were talking about how like looks like we're gonna get like a Riot Squad like feud going on.
They'd have to do some grade A storytelling to explain why these women who got squashed in a matter of seconds can now hold their own against Baszler. That's the only thing. Like how can they now last 5-10 minutes and even take it to Baszler and become like potential champ?
If Liv ever gets a title shot, it would be booked in a similar situation how Dakota Kai was initially booked against Shayna. She was like almost scared of her, and she had to overcome this fear of Shayna. And she gave a fight to Shayna, but in the end, it was too much. She wasn't enough for Shayna. And that's what you do with Liv Morgan. You do this like Riot Squad stuff. And here's the thing. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. They're not going to get a triple threat match at WrestleMania. It's not going to happen. No. They're not big enough in the totem pole. The pecking order.
Kickoff has time for like 3
matches.
No,
they won't even get a kickoff triple threat. They will be in the women's
battle royal.
They will be in the women's battle royal. They'll be they'll be the final 3, and it'll come down to like Liv Morgan winning the battle royal. Then you have the proper triple threat match at the following B-level pay-per-view, and Liv goes over in that, or Ruby goes over in that and gets some heat on her. Then you transition to a really more hot feud between Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, because I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but Sarah Logan, I don't know what her gimmick is. I don't care about Sarah Logan. She is my Ricochet. She could disappear off the face of the earth tomorrow, and I don't think wrestling would miss her.
She's so intense, man. If they let her turn it on, she gets intense as shit.
No. Send her to Lucha Underground if it still exists. I don't care, man. No, man. We done with Sarah Logan. But point is that Liv took it to her, and that caused the distraction because it left Natalya in a situation where she was by herself against the Kabuki Warriors, and she ended up coming up short. She lost the Kabuki Warriors, which begs the question, like, should she get a title shot? She lost the Warriors to the Kabuki Warriors. She shouldn't really get another title shot, but they'll picture it as, maybe what they're going to do is they're going to do, like, next week, Natty chooses someone else to team with her, and then she loses again, kind of like what they're doing with Shawn Spears, trying to find the right tag team partner until Beth Phoenix finally shows up, like the Raw before WrestleMania, and they set the match properly.
Yeah. I could see that. I could definitely see that. She's like down on her last leg. Remember when you had that brief moment where Tamina was trying to help pick up Lana. Lana was on a losing streak, and Tamina was like, "Come on, let's go." And I really thought we were going to get something juicy out of that. I thought we were going to get Tamina, like this heartfelt thing between the two. It ended up being crap. But the beginning of it looked promising, and yeah, you could be something like that.
Isn't that unfortunately the story of a lot of Lana storylines? They start off promising, and then they just fall flat on their face.
Yeah, but that one, honestly, that one had the most intrigue on my end when Tamina was coming out. And
really,
well,
like
it
the
was
Bobby Lashley Lana stuff, having like sex on live TV didn't engage you at all.
It was cool though the first time it happened, man, because Lana got her ass beat. She was looking like she was gonna cry in the ring, and she looked like she didn't have like a backbone. And Tamina came out. This was the best use of Tamina, by the way. Tamina came out, stone faced, didn't give no hugs, nothing. Just said, "Come on, get up, come on, let's go." And it really looked like Tamina was gonna like freaking somehow do something where they would. She would help Lana find her footing and maybe become a better wrestler or something. I don't know. It ended up
like a Karate Kid type story.
Kind of, yeah, man. Kind of. But, I mean, obviously it didn't go anywhere. Yeah. They gave no legs. They just had a nice little start. But I could see that. I could see that happening for Natalya. Her tag team partners keep letting her down. She can't find the magic. And then out comes, like you said, Beth Phoenix. The only issue with that being is Beth Phoenix is obviously already wrapped up with the Edge stuff, which we didn't even touch on, did we?
No. Let's go into that next.
Let's go into that's obviously the best part of all of this, which and then we'll go ahead and, because we're already about an hour, we'll go ahead and finish up with the Seth Rollins and AOP stuff. But yeah, so we have MVP out there, which this dude, I'm done thinking MVP is done with WWE because they still somehow find a segment for this guy every week.
Yes.
I'm convinced like that's the last time I'll see him, and then he's back out for another. And I'm convinced this is the last time we'll see him.
No, actually, I don't think we'll see the last of MVP because he said he's transitioning from an in-ring competitor to like a genius or tactician or whatever. So it looks like they're going to transition him to a manager role. Dude, I think that's a great role for him.
He's a comedic spot where he gets beat up by every guy he tries to recruit because he doesn't have patience and he insults them.
Look, this is twice. He tried to get like Drew McIntyre as his client, didn't work. He tried to do the same thing with Ed.
It's not that it doesn't work.
Didn't work.
He loses his temper and insults the people immediately.
It's going to be a running gag. It's going to be a running gag until after WrestleMania, the Raw after WrestleMania. Someone's going to debut, or they're going to pair him up with like a heel.
Oh, y'all are laughing now. Y'all aren't laughing now. Look who I got. He finally brings in somebody. Yeah, he brings in who's the big jacked up dude who's injured with an arm right now. He's on the Indies. I can never remember his name. He's built like a tank.
I don't know. God, you described a couple people.
He was on Lucha Underground. He was the giant guy on Lucha Underground. He's American. He's white. He's essentially like a short Brock Lesnar, although he's not as athletic as Brock. He's just muscles on muscles.
I don't know.
Brian Cage. Brian Cage is the name. Brian Cage.
Brian Cage signed with AEW, didn't he?
I know he's not realistically going to WWE. It was just like he'll get a Brian Cage like dude.
I think they're just gonna end up pairing him with like Bobby Lashley or like a heel turned Ricochet.
Hey, that might be interesting. Anyways, yeah, MVP's talking about how he's gonna elevate somebody else because this is the next phase of his career. So he's gonna elevate Edge. We cut to a camera backstage. Edge's limo pulls up. He gets out. He pretty much beelines for the ring, hops on the mic, completely ignoring the fact that MVP is right behind him. And he ends up, what's he end up doing? He ends up starting to call out Randy.
Yeah, that's the first thing he does. He calls out Randy. If you have any, like any testicles, any balls, come out here, grow a set, and like face me in the ring. And it was kind of funny because like MVP this entire time is trying to talk to him. And Edge, the minute he acknowledges it, it's funny because
Go ahead and run through this, and if I'm not back in time, run into the main event. I'll be right back. I just got called out. I'm sorry, I have to step out for just a second.
Okay,
But
okay.
go ahead, just
So,
run them through.
picking up the slack. So, like I was saying, guys, Edge almost immediately the minute he acknowledges MVP, he goes ahead and just lays him out with a freaking spear, smooth as all hell. And after that, like Randy Orton tries to capitalize on that, tries to sneak in, get an RKO. Didn't work because Edge ended up hitting an RKO of himself for himself. I should say. And Randy ended up scurrying off and tried to send a message with Randy using MVP. He hit him with a concerto, hit him with an RKO on the chair. It was very intense. Like RN from the NXT podcast was saying, like Edge looks like he's like hopped up on cocaine or something, because like he really did. He had this intensity, the crazy eyes look, and I liked it. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed every second of it. It's one of the hottest feuds going into WrestleMania. I've seen people say that it should main event. I don't think it should, because it's Edge's first match back, like technically first singles match back in like 90 years. I don't think you should give him the pressure of being the main event. You kind of want to throw him in there, maybe like somewhere in the middle of the card. But I'm loving this. Edge is taking it to the next level, and as he should. You attack the man's wife. You made it more personal than like just take them out in general. This feud is great. Two great guys with great chemistry, and I love it. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see more of it. But let's move on to our final segment, which should have been the main event. Aleister Black versus Seth Rollins. And at this point, we're like, what, like, I want to say like 40 minutes like left into the show. So we got these two guys could put on a show stealer, like a banger of a match of the year quality, if given the time and opportunity. I was kind of hoping, man, I hope they give these guys at least 30 to 40 minutes. Let them go out there, put on a banger of a night, cap off this Raw the best way possible. But they don't go that route. I mean, it seemed like a decent match going into it. It was nothing too special happened, I would say. But it did end with a DQ. Buddy Murphy comes in, gets a DQ. Seth Rollins, him, just beat up on Aleister Black for a minute. AOP, I think, comes out at one point, and Viking Raiders come out to make the save, and Street Profits come out to make the save. They say, it's the Resistance, the Regime, or whatever they called it on commentary. They're coming out and making the beeline for the ring, saving Aleister Black. And AOP, Seth Rollins, and Buddy Murphy, they were all scurrying off. They were going up to the ramp. They were about to get out. Montez Ford grabs the mic and he's like, "Hey, you know what? Before you ring that bell, ref, why don't you make this make this from a singles match into an 8-man tag match?" And sure enough, that's exactly what we got. We got an 8-man tag match between Street Profits and Viking Raiders versus Seth Rollins and his disciples. And Aleister Black just disappeared. He was nowhere to be found. He just got the DQ win and just teleported out of there like Undertaker used to back in the day, or like The Fiend does currently. It was weird. Why was Aleister Black just okay with just disappearing and not being there anymore? He's just like, okay, I took the DQ loss, and then I'm out of here. Bounce later, guys. This is your problem now. I don't want to deal with Seth Rollins and his goons. And you got Kyle back. So
yeah, my kid fell and busted his nose, man. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's terrible. Okay, but I ran down the Edge stuff, and now I'm talking about how like we got the 8-man tag, and I was saying how weird it was that like Aleister Black just disappeared within that whole like situation. He just like disappeared and never heard from again.
Yeah, that was the weirdest thing. Like I said, Aleister Black, constant third wheel on a date. It's just unfortunate that gimmick is carried over to the Seth Rollins stuff. The thing here that really gets me is, A, we got robbed of the singles match. And then B, once again, Rollins, AOP, Murphy, Viking Raiders, Street Profits, and then the eventual emerging Kevin Owens closing the show. And I get it.
Group of people.
Exactly. I copy and paste my argument about Ray and Andrade and all of them bouncing off of each other. It's the same here. What I'm wondering is, this is probably alluding to like some main event or some WrestleMania program. Given how this played out, I don't think it's the Aleister Black, Seth Rollins thing. I feel like that was just a set piece to keep the original
And
story rolling.
here's one thing I forgot to mention earlier, and I thought they were going to set this up. Matt from the Smack in the Raw podcast, him and I were both on board with the idea of having Aleister Black and Undertaker team up against the OC 2-on-3 handicap match. You like hide Undertaker's like limited ability in the ring. Yeah, you don't get AJ versus Undertaker, but you get a match where, like, at the end, it'll have the visual of Undertaker and Aleister Black, almost a ceremonial passing of the torch, like you're the next guy up. And I felt like that would have done wonders for Aleister Black. Unfortunately, we're not going to get that, and it doesn't even look like he might be involved in this Seth feud because it looks like it's gonna come down to Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins in a singles match. But now, what I'm thinking now that with all this happening, it's going to be a lumberjack match, dude. I was thinking about this when that whole like the whole mess of guys were coming out. It's going to be Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. AOP and Buddy Murphy are going to be on the outside. Street Profits, Viking Raiders, Samoa Joe, and Aleister Black. Unfortunately, if Aleister Black, I feel like he's going to be relegated to either he's going to also be in the Battle Royal, but he's going to be one of the lumberjacks in that whole thing. So that's what it's going to end up being. It's going to be a one-on-one lumberjack match at WrestleMania. That's the first thing that came to mind. Why else would all these people be involved?
Yeah, man. It's a very good point. Now to the point with the Undertaker stuff, you could do that, but that's for a B pay-per-view. That's not going to be WrestleMania. Undertaker only does singles matches at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins and his team came away with the victory this time, right? Because I know they came away. They closed the show because with Owens getting beat down and stomped twice by Seth Rollins, we went off the air like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's right. Rollins hit Montez Ford with the stomp, and that's how they the heel team won. To be fair, this is where I tune out Raw. Unfortunately, this is the segment.
I tuned out the match. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. The one thing about the Smack Raw podcast is we keep it real with you guys. If we weren't like, we're not gonna sit here and bullshit through a segment. It's like we didn't watch it. I didn't really watch it. I was out there catching Pokemon.
I had it on. Like I know how the show.
No,
goes.
I had it in the background. I just wasn't focused on it.
I mean, I kept looking up and down. I couldn't be interested in enough to retain the ongoings of the match because it's just something that we've seen for several months straight now, and I'm just ready for some new blood. I was very intrigued with the Aleister Black stuff, but like you said, it looks like we're gonna carry this gang warfare with the same faces all the way through till Mania. I wonder what that means for the tag titles. I wonder if AOP will probably get their hands on them before Mania. I don't see the Street Profits being a Mania thing. I hope I'm wrong. With that, but I just don't think they are.
I don't know. We'll find out, man. I'm more concerned about Aleister Black. This guy could, like, you put him in a situation, especially once Drew gets the title, you put him in a situation where he slowly elevates. Him and Drew McIntyre can be a hell of a program together. Him versus Seth Rollins could be an amazing program. Him versus AJ Styles, and it's like, what are you doing with the guy? What are we doing here? What's going on, man? And it's just not me being a favoritism. I legitimately feel like this could be a world champion, and you're just not using him.
It's very true. It's very true. But we'll have to wait and see. It is the road to WrestleMania. We're going to have a lot of twists and turns. No more stops, however, thank God. And until we get there.
We might have a quick pit stop next week because it's 316 days, so Stone Cold Steve Austin will be there next week.
Via satellite, calling it now. He ain't going to be there.
Via satellite. Look, man, you want to add heat to this feud? Have Stone Cold and Kevin Owens have a moment where, like, there's a ceremonial passing of the Stone Cold Stunner where Austin stuns Seth Rollins, goes into a stunner for Kevin Owens. They both split a beer, Steve Weiser, and to like make this whole lumberjack match even better, Stone Cold Steve Austin is a special guest ref. That's the setup, man. I'm booking this whole WrestleMania feud going into it.
Yeah, we'll
That's
see.
that-
We'll see.
that-
Nah,
that's what we do.
He's gonna plug his show. Hey, no, save the booking for Book It SRP, the new show that we're gonna be rolling out leading into WrestleMania, where Sebastian, another host, and maybe some guests will all join our panel. We will all pitch some fantasy booking for WrestleMania angles that are currently going on, just stuff that we would like to see happen, similar to how I was booking Undertaker coming out to Johnny Cash, but more in depth. We figure it's going to be a better feel for the crowd than covering older pay-per-views. To be honest, we're already recapping enough stuff as it is. I'm ready to do something different than just recapping more stuff. So, yeah, look out for the new show, Book It SRP. We'll be debuting it leading into WrestleMania, probably towards the final act going into the show itself. But, I mean, that's pretty much it, man. We're like an hour 15. We always go over, man. I'm like, man, we're going to knock it out in 50 minutes. And we're like 20 minutes later. But
It happens, man.
It happens. But anyways, that's our show. Tune in Wednesday. We're going to cover Dynamite and NXT. You guys have fun covering NXT from the Performance Center, whatever that's about.
Hey, remember Halftime Heat? They did that 2 years ago, and it was an amazing 6-man tag.
Whatever. We'll see. We'll see. But until next time, you guys, y'all have a good one.